It's 7 a.m. on a Sunday ahead. We're now just 2 days away from the election. Hear what the presidential candidates are up to in this final push. But first, Jacob is in this morning tracking out some rain over the next few days. His first warm forecast is coming up. Then later we explore the hobby of train spotting and meet a central Wisconsin man sharing his passion for it. Good morning. Thanks for joining us here on Weekend Mornings. I'm Kyle Pazarski. It is Sunday, November 3rd. Let's start with the first warm forecast. There is some rain coming through our area today. Jacob Madison has what you need to know. Good morning, Jacob.
Yeah, I think some rain is a little bit of an understatement, as we're going to see plenty of rainfall for a few locations. Right now, the most consistent rainfall in the far southwestern portion of Wisconsin, but really all of the area will see rain at some point, and we'll likely see rain for a few hours. Now, as we take a look at the rainfall chances throughout the day today, especially through the afternoon, we are going to see an almost guaranteed of rainfall. Now, this is La Crosse's forecast, and it is going to be dry a little bit through the overnight hours. Still going to see some sprinkles at times, but we're not going to see quite as much rainfall. But then as we get towards Tuesday morning, those rain chances will increase. So areas north and west of Madison, the best chance of rain will be today, but south and east, still going to see some rain today, but heavier rains in the forecast for Monday and Tuesday. Looking at the temperatures, right now around 50 for Madison, upper 40s for La Crosse and surrounding areas. So another fairly mild morning compared to normal, but temperatures aren't really going to change too much today. They're going to kind of stay right around 50, maybe rise into the lower 50s by the evening. It also will be a bit breezy. Winds will be around 15 to 20 miles per hour for Madison. Not quite as gusty for La Crosse, especially later in the day, but temperatures and conditions will be very similar. So plenty of rainfall today, and that includes those of you going to the Packers game in Green Bay. It's going to be pretty rainy there as well. And rain is going to continue in the forecast. So talk about how long that will occur coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Well, we are now just 2 days away from Election Day, and both candidates are continuing to battle until the very end for votes in key battleground states. Former President Donald Trump rallied in both North Carolina and Virginia Saturday, trying to project strength in states where polls show Harris leads.
I think we have a really good chance to win the popular vote, and I think things are going to be very interesting.
Former President Trump will be back in Pennsylvania today, a swing state that could decide the race. Meanwhile, Vice President Kamala Harris made an appearance on Saturday Night Live last night in a skit that showed played off variations of Harris's first name, saying Americans want to, quote, end the drama law in politics. Wisconsin Senate candidates are continuing to battle over voters as well. Reporter Ellie Laberte shows us how both are looking to do so in the final minutes of the campaign.
From Iowa County to Walworth County.
We have a very tight, we're a battleground state. We have a very tight race at the top for the president. And this Senate race is tight, too.
Both Senate candidates are looking to get out the vote just days before November 5th.
And just get out there, work hard. I feel the momentum. I think things are really going well and heading in our direction.
Trying to reach every last voter.
It's really always been important to me to get all around the state to meet voters where they're at.
Yeah, there's not one part of the state that I'm not working hard to gain their votes.
A recent Marquette Law School poll showing incumbent Democratic Senator Tammy Baldwin with a narrow edge over her Republican challenger, Eric Hovde.
We know that that's going to be what this race in Wisconsin comes down to, is turnout.
Both Baldwin and Hovde supporters are aware of the pull smaller communities can have.
The message isn't always clear in some of these smaller communities. And the smaller communities are the ones that are getting so much mismessaging that they really need the clarity of having somebody come face to face.
I think it's important that the candidates come and speak to us locally. It's great to hear more of their side instead of all the negative ads on TV.
Both campaigns hoping these voters will swing their way come Election Day. Reporting in Iowa and Walworth County, Ellie Laberte, News 3 Now.
The election, of course, now just 2 days away, and more than 70 million Americans have already cast their ballots. That's according to data gathered from 47 states and the District of Columbia. That figure is nearly 45% of the roughly 158 million votes cast for the president in 2020. This has made for some long lines as well as some polling locations across the country like you're seeing here. It was back in 2020 when nearly 70% of votes were cast ahead of Election Day, which took place amid the pandemic. But during the 2022 midterms, roughly half of the votes were cast before Election Day. Well, this past week, Wisconsin saw a few more high-profile campaign stops, and today there will be another as former President Barack Obama will be making a stop in Milwaukee. The Democratic Party of Wisconsin, announced the former president will speak at the Baird Center today with doors opening at 11 a.m. Obama came on late to the campaign trail for the Harris-Walz campaign, with several stops in the key battleground states, serving as a surrogate at rallies and on multiple podcasts. Then tomorrow, VP candidates will be in La Crosse. Republican VP candidate J.D. Vance will host a rally Monday at the La Crosse Center. Meanwhile, Democratic VP candidate Tim Walz will also make a campaign stop tomorrow in La Crosse. However, the time and location for his event has not yet been announced. To local news, one person is critically injured and 3 are all without a home following an apartment building fire. According to the Madison Fire Department, they were dispatched to the 4900 block of Camden Road late Friday night, following reports of a fire in a 4-unit apartment building. MFD says firefighters encountered flames and thick black smoke in one of the upstairs units. During their efforts, firefighters located one person trapped inside the fire-affected unit. They rescued that person and transported them to a local hospital. That person is in critical condition. 2 other occupants were displaced by the fire. Now we're taking a live look of Waupaca, Wisconsin, and the local rail line that passes through town. This coming from a live streaming network of cameras across the country devoted to spotting the passing trains. No trains right now, but when they do, the chats oftentimes light up with excitement from viewers over the shared experience. And this is all part of a growing online community of rail fans, or as they're sometimes called, train spotters. This morning, we examined the popularity of the hobby of watching trains.
Just on a whim.
That's how Walt Javanis, a native of Portage, describes the moment he decided to create a Facebook page devoted solely to the photography of trains.
In today's world, there's so much AI and extreme Photoshop, and all the photos you see on my page are they're just real. They're just what I took.
Walt started posting his photos in 2017, at first only getting a few close friends and family to like and share his shots, but now people he doesn't even know follow along as well.
The fascination for me is putting pictures out there that people that don't even know me like. That's where I get a thrill out of it.
And it turns out he's not alone. Trains and photography are nothing new, both actually coming of age during the early 1800s. 200 years later, there's a growing community of folks getting into train spotting, taking the hobby to new heights online.
You know, it's a family-friendly place on the internet.
Mike Sear co-created Virtual Rail Fan more than a decade ago.
Some folks like to count cars. Other folks are interested in the horns. Some folks are just fascinated with large machinery.
He tells me his streams regularly get between 7 to 10 million views per month, filled with chat rooms of rail fans and some who really get into it.
There's a lot more than you think that have elaborate setups, you know, multiple monitors and things like that, where it's up at the house and, you know, they're working on one screen, but they're surrounded by 8 other screens that have 8 of our locations up across the country, and they're watching them all at the same time.
Back in Portage, Walt and I discussed what is perhaps the best reason for all of this.
You meet people.
Do people like that, do they kind of look at you like...
Sometimes.
Like you're ridiculous?
Sometimes. But then the other people will be like, oh, wow, I'm going to pull over and see it too, you know?
Yeah. It's about those human interactions and less about the trains sharing an experience.
You meet people from all over, and it's super cool.
And we're so glad we got to meet both Walt and Mike. Now, if you want to do something similar, we have some tips to share. Of course, be safe and aware of where you are in relation to the railroad tracks, as you should never go onto the track. Also, don't trespass, as it can lead to some legal troubles. And maybe the best, if you want to do what Walt does, always have your camera ready, whether it be on your phone or a traditional one. Well, in sports news, Wisconsin Badger football headed down to Iowa City for a pivotal and physical matchup with the Hawkeyes on Saturday. the Badgers having a chance to become bowl eligible heading into their bye, but it would not work in their favor. This one was all Hawkeyes nearly the entire way. The Hawkeyes scored 42 to the Badgers 10, and the bowl will stay in Iowa City for a new record, third straight season. In the NFL, the Packers will welcome in the division-leading Lions today. That's weird to say, isn't it? Well, Packers coming into today on a 4-game win streak, with their last loss coming from the other divisional opponent, Minnesota. The Lions are 6-1 on the season so far. Green Bay sits at 6-2. Game time is 3:25 and will be broadcast on Fox. Time now, 10 past the hour. Still ahead, international news, including a major flooding disaster in Spain. And let's take a live look outside at the state capitol in downtown Madison. Jacob is tracking rain in the forecast just ahead on weekend mornings.
I'm Joan Balwig, and I'm here to set the record straight. I support birth control, the life and health of mothers, extending postpartum care, and fertility treatments, including IVF. I'm Joan Balwig. I have always fought for Wisconsin moms, and I always will.
I'm Tara, a nurse here in Wisconsin, and my patients don't want politicians like Eric Hovde making their healthcare decisions. He means what he says about opposing reproductive rights.
I am totally opposed to abortion.
And there are forces in Washington who want to pass a nationwide ban on abortion. And if Hovde gets elected, I worry he'll support that ban that could turn nurses like me into criminals. We need to vote against Eric Hovde.
WIN Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
We know what Joan Balwig wants to do. Ban abortion and birth control. That's it. That's her plan. Sarah Kieski is focused on bringing costs down, and she has real plans to lower the cost of healthcare and housing, prescription drugs, and to cut your taxes. So if you want a candidate focused on banning abortion and birth control, that's Joan Balwig. For everyone else, there's Sarah Kieski. She's running for state senate to finally bring costs down.
You have a clear choice in this election. Senator Baldwin is a 38-year career politician. I'm a businessman and job creator. She supports taxpayer benefits for illegal immigrants. I'll close the border. Tammy wants to put guys and girls sports in their bathrooms. I'll protect our daughters. Senator Baldwin abuses the political system. I'll fight the corruption. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'd be honored to have your vote.
Do you believe in punishment for abortion? Yes or no?
There has to be some form of punishment.
For the woman?
Yeah.
And the punishment is real. Women denied care, unable to get pregnant again, traumatized, scarred for life. Young women who didn't need to die. Now 1 in 3 women live under a Trump abortion ban. And if he's elected, everyone will.
There has to be some form of punishment.
I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message.
The problem with Todd Novak? He voted with his extreme party leaders 100% of the time, like voting against lower prescription prices. And Todd Novak authored the law to ban abortion in Wisconsin, with no exceptions for rape and incest. Todd Novak is with the extremists 100%, and he's hurting Wisconsin. Elizabeth Grabe will defend abortion rights, get more police funding, and bring down costs. Elizabeth Grabe for Assembly.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
Good morning, everybody. Here's a look at the 3 things you need to know. We are going to see on and off rain from now through Tuesday, and temperatures will also rise a little bit with highs back in the 60s. We will be quieter by the time we get to the middle and end of the work week, but we also have some light rain in the forecast for next weekend. Here's a look at the rain for today through really the next couple of days. Today, the best chance of rain, at least the best chance of consistent and heavy rainfall, will be for areas west of Madison and also north of Madison, but the entire region expect to see rain at some point today and likely going to see rain for quite a bit. Also want to point out, those of you planning to attend the Packers game, we're going to see consistent rain for much of the game. Now, For tonight, we'll see a little bit of a break from the consistent rainfall. We'll see more sprinkles, but then we're going to see more consistent rain move back into the area for Monday. This time, the best chance will be for Madison and points to the east, and that's going to be the case as we head into the later hours on Monday, where we could see some more heavy rain move back into the area for Monday evening into Monday night. Now, as we get to Tuesday, we'll see more widespread rain really for just about everybody. It will be a little bit more on and off early in the day, and then we'll have one final chance of some heavy rainfall for Madison and points to the east. This will be Tuesday afternoon, and then once that rain clears out, a little bit after sunset, we'll see some more light rain, but then we're going to finally clear out by Tuesday evening. So the bottom line is we're going to see on and off showers, sometimes some thunderstorms, and sometimes the rain will be heavy from now all the way through Tuesday afternoon. So don't plan on having too many outdoor plans. Now, here's a look at the full rainfall forecast. We're likely going to see over an inch of rainfall, possibly over 2 inches for a few isolated locations. Also do want to point out that obviously Tuesday, Election Day, it is going to definitely rain that day. So definitely bring an umbrella in case you have to wait outside. But overall, we are going to see plenty of rainfall, possibly over 2 inches for a few isolated locations. And we also will be a bit breezy during this time. Today will be the windiest day with wind gusts possibly up to 30 miles per hour. But the winds will calm down a little bit overnight. And then for Monday and Tuesday, they're still going to be a little bit breezy, but not too bad at all. Certainly not as windy as it was on Halloween. Now, let's take a look at the full 7 to 10 day forecast. For La Crosse, rainfall for the next couple of days. Then we're going to see temperatures in the 50s. Some light rain is possible over the weekend, but we're not expecting as much rainfall as we will the next couple of days. But as you notice, temperatures starting Tuesday will be very consistent with highs in the middle 50s, which is still above average for this time of the year. So the rainfall with mild temperatures and some windy conditions will then be followed by much calmer weather for Wednesday through Friday. Some rain is in the forecast for the weekend, but again, we're not expecting too much in the rainfall department for that time frame. But temperatures, again, still going to be consistent, but a little bit above normal.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Some news out of Washington now. The United States will soon be providing more military support for Ukraine. It is a $425 million aid package, which will include artillery, armored vehicles, and air defense interceptors, according to a statement released Friday by Secretary of State Antony Blinken. The aid is a presidential drawdown package, which means the equipment will be taken from U.S. military stocks. Blinken says President Joe Biden will use as much of the authority Congress authorized to him to back Ukraine before the end of his term. This new package comes as thousands of troops from North Korea are potentially going to join Russian forces in the fight against Ukraine. Anger is growing in Spain just 4 days after terrifying flash flooding killed more than 210 people in just one day. More rain fell than what is typically expected throughout the entire year. CBS's Chris Livesay reports on recovery efforts.
They've come by the thousands. Volunteers armed with brooms, shovels, or their bare hands, searching for survivors and the dead, like this rescuer chest deep inside a parking garage. In some areas, more than a year's worth of rain fell in a mere 8 hours. In just minutes, this street goes from bone dry to swallowing cars and flipping them, all before residents got their first emergency phone alert warning them not to leave home.
An anger because it's outrageous that, you know, our local government didn't do anything about it, knowing they well knew that, you know, this was coming.
Climate scientists blame a warmer atmosphere for retaining historic levels of moisture, a slowing jet stream for failing to push the storm away, and parched soil that couldn't absorb the catastrophic downpour.
We have no resources. Everything we have is thanks to the volunteers that are helping.
They're now being joined by 10,000 troops in Spain's biggest peacetime deployment in history, amid the country's worst natural disaster in generations. Chris Livesay, CBS News, Rome.
Staying overseas, thousands took to the streets of Tel Aviv again on Saturday to protest against the government of Benjamin Netanyahu and demand a deal to release the remaining hostages held by Hamas in Gaza. Protesters chanted slogans and held up banners reading, quote, "Bring them home." and the bloodshed. And with a comment on the U.S. election on Tuesday, Israelis for Kamala Harris.
For me, there's almost no price that's too steep. The negotiating team to do whatever they can to make a deal, stop the war, and bring people back home to their families, to their homes, to the whole society. Everyone here is waiting for it.
Israel is fighting a seemingly endless war against Hamas in northern Gaza. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu has vowed to continue the fighting until Hamas is destroyed. The Voyager 1 spacecraft was able to get back in touch with NASA on Friday, this after a communication blackout started on October 19th. NASA believes the fault protection system was triggered multiple times and may have switched off the transmitter. The 47-year-old spacecraft is now using a radio transmitter to send back data from 15 billion miles away. The radio transmitter hasn't been used since 1981. However, the spacecraft is not out of the woods yet. Voyager's team is working to understand what went wrong and find, quote, creative solutions. Coming up now on 721, still ahead, Jacob is back with a quick check of the forecast. Plus, we got a look at today's day in history.
News 3 Now, election night coverage, Tuesday.
The other side is lying to scare you.
Truth is, Joan Ballweg is a champion for women's health care.
She fought hard to expand healthcare access for postpartum moms
and supports access for IVF and birth control.
We're voting for Joan Ballweg because she votes for women like us.
So let's get one thing straight. When Donald Trump talks about cutting Social Security and Medicare, it's like spitting in the face of America's seniors. We paid into these programs for our entire careers, and he would just cut them? Why? He wants to give another tax cut to the super rich, which they don't need. I know that Kamala Harris will protect our Social Security because she understands why it's so important for so many of us.
FFPAC is responsible for the content of this ad.
National Democrats have been a disaster. Higher prices, open borders, making our communities less safe. They can't run on their record, so they try to distract you by lying about abortion.
Here's the truth. I oppose a national abortion ban. Early in a pregnancy, women should have the right to decide. We should allow for exceptions. And finally, the people of Wisconsin need to decide this issue, not politicians in Washington.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
Trust your feet to Morgan's shoes.
Finn Comfort footwear is handmade from the finest of natural products, leather-lined and expertly crafted, made with great care to ensure a first-class product that Finn Comfort is known for. Finn Comfort, meticulously handcrafted in Germany and loaded with arch support. You can be assured that Morgan shoes will properly fit you in your new Finn Comfort shoes.
Comfort with style. Trust your feet to Morgan Shoes.
Morgan Shoes, Hilldale.
We count on gasoline to power our cars, our tractors, our way of life. So why is a city slicker from Miami, Elizabeth Groppe, okay banning gas-powered vehicles? Extremists like Groppe want to eliminate fossil fuels, robbing hard-working families, farmers, and small businesses of their vehicles. Miami Liz's radical ideas hurt our families and our main streets. Don't let Groppe get away with it. Born and raised right here. Todd Novak is our independent voice for common sense, protecting our way of life.
Sarah Kieski, she supports lifting revenue limits, allowing property tax rates to skyrocket unchecked. Kieski's backers want to ban natural gas to heat our homes, driving utility bills through the roof. That's Kieski's record, expensive and extreme.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Let's take a moment and check out the drought monitor. Now, this does not include the rainfall we saw this past Wednesday, and obviously does not include the rainfall we're going to see the next couple of days. So next week's drought monitor will likely look a lot better, and that may even continue with the following week's drought monitor. Now, as we take a look at the amount of rainfall that is in the forecast, over an inch for just about everybody, possibly over 2 inches for a few isolated locations. The further north and west you go, especially northwest of our area, but closer to Minneapolis, those areas won't get quite as much rainfall. But southern Wisconsin, central Wisconsin, and especially really the east central portion of the state will get plenty of rainfall the next couple of days. And as we look at the 7-day rain chances, it will dry out by the time we get to Tuesday night, but we do have another chance of rainfall for next weekend. The best chance will be Saturday night, so things are turning around when it comes to the drought for sure.
Jacob, thank you. Well, despite playing one of the hardest schedules in the country, Wisconsin women's hockey looked to go into their bye week as perfect 12-0 with a win Saturday. Things were scoreless in the first, but then Layla Edwards would tip it to Lainey Potters. She would shoot and getting Bucky on the board, then jumping ahead to the second. The Badgers would look to get their third goal in this game. Layla Edwards and Caroline Harvey set it up. Lacey Eden finishes the job, and it's another goal. Wisconsin wins it 4-0, getting their 12th win. To the pitch, high school boys soccer, Middleton playing Madison West for a trip to advance to state. Things were tied at 1 apiece in the second half, but not any longer as Brennan Maurer puts the free kick right into the net, and the Cardinals take the lead, and it would win it in penalty kicks. They're now headed back to state to try and defend their state title. Staying with soccer, forward Madison won their playoff game Saturday, a first in franchise history. They beat Carolina FC in the quarterfinals 2-0. And in the NBA, the Bucks looking to snap a 4-game skid against the undefeated Cavaliers. Down with 14 seconds to go, which means it is Dame time. Lillard lifts this mid-range jumper, and it's good. Bucks would take the lead, but the Cavs come back with Donovan Mitchell making it happen on this play. Milwaukee loses 114-113. And Andrew has more sports highlights coming up in our next half hour. And there's still more news ahead here on Weekend Mornings. Next, we're going to run through the morning's top headlines. Stick with us. We'll be right back.
During COVID, Joan Balwig took $500,000 in federal loans she never paid back. Then voted to block assistance to help other Wisconsin businesses grow. Joan Balwig, out for herself, not you.
Get an 11% rebate right now at Menards. Seal your projects with GE Painters Pro Caulk. It's perfect for windows and doors, creating a durable, waterproof seal. A tube is $249 each after rebate. Cold weather is coming. Menards has the largest in-stock selection of insulated garage doors, ready for you to take home today. This insulated 9x7 garage door is $449.99 after 11% rebate.
Save big money at Menards.
Next January, one of us will be president. If it's Donald Trump, he will wake up every day and stew over his enemies list. That will help no one. If I am president, I'll be focused on my to-do list for you, the American people. I'll cut costs by cracking down on corporate price gouging, make housing more affordable, lower taxes for middle-class families, and protect Social Security. I will focus on getting things done. I'm Kamala Harris, and I approve this message. Let's get to work.
Washington is corrupt. Senator Baldwin says she fights against Wall Street, and yet she lives with a Wall Street executive and gets all this money from Wall Street. She says she's standing up to Big Pharma and Big Tech, but look at the money she rakes in from Big Pharma, Big Tech, and their executives. Senator Baldwin doesn't work for you, she works for them. I'm Eric Hovde, I approve this message. I'm not taking their special interest money, I'll only work for you.
For over 30 years, Denver Mattress has been crafting factory direct mattresses with innovative design and unrivaled quality, improving the sleeping lives of millions of people one night at a time. And during the pre-Black Friday sale, the more you buy, the more you save. Save $100 on every $1,000 you spend. Check out the Summit Firm, only $349.99. And save $50 on our Buena Vista lineup, or get 60 months no interest and free shipping. Denver Mattress, the easiest way to get the right mattress.
Meet Sarah Kieski. You might see her walking around in her Woke Genius t-shirt. Radical, just like the groups that support her. Kieski supporters want to defund the police. Her allies want to give voting rights to illegals and make it easier for felons to vote. And Kieski is backed by a group that wants to let criminals out early. Want to know where Sarah Kieski stands? Just look at the company she keeps.
This is China, and this is Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg invested thousands of dollars in Chinese companies, but voted against using state funds to help grow companies here in Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg, out for herself, not you.
It's 7:30. I'm Kyle Pazarski ahead. Details on a fatal crash south of Verona, and a man is charged in a crash killing a construction worker. Your top stories are coming up.
With the race for the White House in its final days, Vice President Harris and former President Trump are trying to turn out voters. I'm Bradley Blackburn with the battleground fight and a surprise visit to SNL.
This is Weekend Mornings. Thanks for joining us here. It is Sunday, November 3rd. Well, we begin with a look at the first warm forecast. Jacob Montesano is standing by with what you need to know. Good morning, Jacob.
Good morning, Kyle, and it is going to be a rainy one. Now, we definitely need the rainfall, but this is arguably one of the bigger games happening in Green Bay today, and it's going to be raining for much of the game. Looking at the current conditions, plenty of rain already in the area. The most consistent rain just to the west of Dane County, most of it moving to the northeast. Everyone will see rain today, and everyone will likely see rainfall for a few hours. Now, the best chance of rainfall will be west and north of Madison, but places to the east will also see rain as well. So looking at Madison's forecast, really throughout all day through sunset, we are going to see consistent rainfall in Madison. It will dry up a little bit overnight into Monday morning, well, kind of into the morning hours just after midnight. Once we get closer to sunrise, we'll see the rain pick back up, drying out again for the late morning hours Monday, and then Monday afternoon and evening we'll see the rain pick back up, and that will continue through the day on Tuesday. So several days of rainfall, but it is going to be mild. Temperatures right now upper 40s, lower 50s. They're going to kind of stay around that today, but then they're going to be in the 60s for your Monday. But looking at today's forecast, temperatures right around 50, plenty of rainfall. It will be a little bit windy as well, but not nearly as windy as it was on Halloween. And La Crosse, a very similar forecast, upper 40s, wind speeds between around 10 to 15 miles per hour. I'll track a detailed forecast of the rainfall coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Top in our news and a story we continue to follow. 5 people are dead after their vehicle struck a tree south of Verona Friday night. New video shows the scene on Range Trail. The Dane County Sheriff's Office says the incident happened just after 11 p.m. The vehicle was traveling northbound on Range Trail when it left the roadway and struck a tree. The impact caused the vehicle to become engulfed in flames. Multiple first responders arrived on the scene but were unable to save any of the occupants. The cause of the crash is under investigation by the Sheriff's Office. North to Monroe County, where a construction worker is dead and 2 others injured following a crash in a construction zone. According to the Monroe County Sheriff's Office, their communications center received reports of a crash around 9:30 p.m. Friday near the village of Oakdale. The driver, identified as Isaac Morales, was traveling eastbound when he struck the rear of a semi-truck, losing control before colliding with a road surfacing machine. That machine was being operated by a 35-year-old man who was pronounced dead at the scene. Morales was later arrested by Toma police, and authorities suspect that alcohol and speed may have contributed to the crash. To Campaign 2024, we are now just 2 days away from Election Day, with candidates battling for votes in key swing states. And late Saturday, Vice President Harris also made a swing to New York to appear on SNL. Bradley Blackburn has more on the push to get voters in the polls.
Vice President Kamala Harris made a surprise stop in New York Saturday night, where she went face-to-face with her doppelganger Maya Rudolph on SNL.
Because what do we always say? Keep Kamala and carry on-a-la. So well, we even finish each other's belief in the promise of America. And live from New York
Harris campaigned in Georgia and North Carolina Saturday, part of a push through swing states in these final days.
I'm telling you, the future of our nation is bright. It is bright. We have so much to be optimistic about.
I think we have a really good chance to win the popular vote, and I think things are going to be very interesting.
Former President Trump also rallied in North Carolina and then campaigned in Virginia, trying to project strength in a state where polls show Harris leads.
let's make a prediction. This will happen on Tuesday, I think, right? This will happen on Tuesday.
But the swing states will likely decide who wins the White House on Tuesday. Polls show it's a tight race. One thing many do agree on, almost 70% of voters say they're very stressed about the presidential race.
This is your opportunity to get out and cast what you believe in and what you stand for.
The decision in the hands of voters with just 2 days to go. Bradley Blackburn, CBS News, New York.
And today, former President Trump will be back in Pennsylvania, a swing state that could decide the race. Vice President Harris will campaign there tomorrow. She is making multiple appearances in Michigan later today. And staying in politics, Wisconsin, of course, is a crucial battleground state in this presidential election. Because of this, each campaign is continuing to send surrogates to rally support. Of the big ones over these next 2 days include former President Barack Obama. He will be in Milwaukee today. Republican VP candidate J.D. Vance will host a rally event tomorrow at the La Crosse Center. Meanwhile, Democratic VP candidate Tim Walz will also make a campaign stop tomorrow in La Crosse. Across the country Saturday, thousands participated in the 2024 Women's March in anticipation of this election day. Many gathered in Washington, D.C., with a march there beginning at Freedom Plaza and ending at the White House. Demonstrators carried posters and signs through city streets, chanting slogans such as "We won't go back." Some of Saturday's rally participants also advocated for LGBTQ+ rights, higher wages, paid sick leave, and greater efforts against gun violence. More local news. A man was arrested Saturday in Madison following an attempted traffic stop that turned into a vehicle pursuit. According to the Monona Police Department, an officer saw a vehicle with a shattered rear window and expired registration Saturday morning. As the officer attempted a traffic stop, the suspect took off, prompting a vehicle pursuit. The suspect eventually lost control of the vehicle, crashing into a fire hydrant. The suspect then fled the car and led officers on a brief foot chase before being caught. The suspect was taken to the Dane County Jail, where he was booked on parole violation charges. Monona Police is recommending several other charges. In Platteville, a 4-hour standoff ended with police taking a man into custody Saturday. This all taking place at a residence on Southwest Lane. The Grant County Sheriff's Office says a 50-year-old man was reported to have, quote, armed himself with a rifle standing on a rooftop. After the roughly 4-hour standoff, pepper spray was used. The man was taken in for 2 outstanding domestic violence charges. Additional charges are pending. Time now, 7:37. Coming up next on Weekend Mornings, we got a national restaurant chain that has filed for bankruptcy. Plus, Jacob has another check of the forecast. We're back in a bit.
We know what Joan Ballwig wants to do. Ban abortion and birth control. That's it. That's her plan. Sarah Kieski is focused on bringing costs down, and she has real plans to lower the cost of healthcare and housing, prescription drugs, and to cut your taxes. So if you want a candidate focused on banning abortion and birth control, that's Joan Ballwig. For everyone else, there's Sarah Kieski. She's running for state senate to finally bring costs down.
Tammy Baldwin has our back. Tammy broke the law to make sure American projects are made with American iron and steel.
Thanks to Tammy Baldwin, my daughter's inhaler is now only $35 a month.
Tammy's Dairy Business Innovation Act has helped us hire more workers.
Tammy Baldwin's leading the charge to restore Roe v. Wade.
Tammy Baldwin fought like hell to save my retirement.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
To have someone in Washington that's got your back, oh man, that's gold.
What have we got?
The Andersons. All night, tossing and turning, bad backs, sleep score at an all-time low.
Round up the team. At Denver Mattress, going undercover is literally how we solve problems. And when we find sleepers waking up with aches and pains, we turn to the Tempur-Pedic Adapt, designed for ultimate pressure relief that uniquely adapts to your body's pressure points. The Tempur Adapt features innovative technology, so you get deep, undisturbed rest all night long. Denver Mattress, the easiest way to get the right Tempur-Pedic.
Under Kamala, there's been a big hike in Medicare premiums. Social Security benefits don't go far with Kamala's inflation slamming seniors. Now Kamala wants struggling seniors to pay more Social Security taxes, while she gives Medicare and Social Security to illegals. That will doom Medicare. President Trump will make sure no one cuts Medicare or Social Security. Trump lowered Medicare premiums, and he'll end the tax on Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
Trust your feet to Morgan's shoes.
Finn Comfort footwear is handmade from the finest of natural products, leather-lined and expertly crafted, made with great care to ensure a first-class product that Finn Comfort is known for. Finn Comfort, meticulously handcrafted in Germany and loaded with arch support. You can be assured that Morgan shoes will properly fit you in your new Finn Comfort shoes.
Comfort with style. Trust your feet to Morgan Shoes.
Morgan Shoes, Hilldale.
When I was 27, I was diagnosed with MS. That's life-altering news. I had to prioritize my health and start taking medication. Back then, these cost $6,000 a year. Now the generics cost 5 times that. Senator Baldwin claims she's fighting to lower drug prices, but she's taking millions from Big Pharma and works for them. I'm not taking their money. I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message. I'll fight the corruption and lower drug prices because I've lived it.
Let's take a look at the temperatures this October and comparing them to average. Now, this is on a day-to-day basis, and the red indicates above normal temperatures, and that was the case for much of the month, especially sort of the last few days in the month, not necessarily Halloween, but October 29th and 30th, we were around 25 to 30 degrees above normal. And for the entire month, we were around 5.5 degrees above normal, which is a fairly large number considering the sample size is 31 days. Now, looking at each individual month so far this year and comparing it to normal, each month has been above normal. Now, July and August just slightly above that level, but take a look at February, over 10 degrees above normal. It was the warmest February on record, and it's the second warmest January 1st through November 1st on record for Madison. Now, as we take a look at the past 2 weeks and compare them to the next 2 weeks, or rather the next 10 days, we are going to remain above normal, but as you notice, the temperatures will be a little bit more consistent with 50s in the forecast for a lot of the 10 days.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Next is some consumer news and deals you're not going to want to miss out on come this election day. There's a lot to take advantage of. Both Uber and Lyft are giving riders 50% off trips to their polling place. For those ordering food, Uber Eats is offering 25% off certain orders Tuesday evening into Wednesday morning. And as part of its Drive the Vote deal, car rental company Hertz is giving one free day when customers rent 2 or more days through November 5th. Krispy Kreme is also giving away a free original glazed donut to honor, quote, democracy. So those are just some incentives to get you out and vote come Tuesday. TGI Fridays filed for bankruptcy protection Saturday. In a statement, the executive chairman of the casual dining chain cited the pandemic as being the cause of their financial woes. The company says the bankruptcy only affects the chain's parent company and not the franchises. All restaurants will remain open, including the dozens that are corporately owned. The company says it will use the Chapter 11 process to explore strategic alternatives in order to ensure long-term viability of the chain. Coming up now on 7:45, still ahead, Andrew is back with a look at Saturday's news and sports, and let's take another live look outside of the state capitol. Jacob has all that rain in the forecast next on Weekend Mornings.
Sponsored by Three Bears Resort, Indoor Water Park and Conference Center in Warrens, Wisconsin.
California banker Eric Hovde has a plan that helps him and hurts you.
Here's the math. Hovde proposed $4 trillion in new tax cuts for rich people like him.
And we pay for Hovde's tax breaks with a 28% cut to Social Security and a 25% cut to Medicare.
Hovde even said he would raise the retirement age.
You have to start changing the retirement age.
Eric Hovde still helping himself and hurting you.
Win Senate is responsible for the content of this ad.
Todd Novak is a compassionate and independent voice for us in the Assembly, but Elizabeth Groby will tell any lie she needs to get herself elected. Groby's dishonesty about Todd Novak is shameful. The truth, Todd Novak passed legislation protecting exceptions for rape, incest, and life of the mother, and voted to expand access to birth control, not ban it. It's time to reject the desperate and ridiculous lies from Elizabeth Groby and her radical allies. We deserve better. Todd Novak for Assembly.
I think we're probably spending too much, throwing too much money on our southern border.
Last month, fentanyl killed my childhood friend. Drugs and criminals are pouring into our communities because Tammy Baldwin voted to open our border and defund our police. I moved here from New York to protect my family, but Tammy's bringing her New York values to Wisconsin. Tammy Baldwin is dangerous.
I'm Eric Updy, and I approve this message. Join my team and give today.
We know what Joan Ballwig wants to do. Ban abortion and birth control. That's it. That's her plan. Sarah Kieski is focused on bringing costs down, and she has real plans to lower the cost of healthcare and housing, prescription drugs, and to cut your taxes. So if you want a candidate focused on banning abortion and birth control, that's Joan Ballwig. For everyone else, there's Sarah Kieski. She's running for state senate to finally bring costs down.
Under Kamala, there's been a big hike in Medicare premiums. Social Security benefits don't go far with Kamala's inflation slamming seniors. Now Kamala wants struggling seniors to pay more Social Security taxes, while she gives Medicare and Social Security to illegals. That will doom Medicare. President Trump will make sure no one cuts Medicare or Social Security. Trump lowered Medicare premiums, and he'll end the tax on Social Security.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
News 3 Now First Warn Weather is brought to you by Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor.
Discover a shopping and design experience as comfortable as the furniture. Lazy Boy Home Furnishings and Decor. Schedule your free design consultation today.
Good morning, everybody. Here's the final look at the 3 things you need to know. On and off rain for about now through Tuesday afternoon, as we are going to see that consistent rainfall move across the area. 60s will also return with the rainfall, so temperatures won't feel too cold, but then we are going to be quieter by the time we get to the middle and end of the work week. So here's a look at that rainfall forecast. Again, plenty of rainfall today. For the morning and afternoon hours, the best chance of rain today will be for areas west and north of Madison, at least the best chance of that heavy rainfall. But areas to the east will also see some showers at some point. By the time we get to the overnight hours Sunday, we may see a little bit of a break in the rainfall, but some sprinkles are still possible. However, later in the night and early Monday morning, we're going to see more consistent rain move back into the area, especially from Madison and points eastward during this time. And then for the late morning and early afternoon Monday, we'll see another break with some light sprinkles still possible. But then Monday evening, we'll see more consistent rain move back into the area, affecting just about everybody, but the heaviest will be areas south and southeast of Madison, also to the east of Madison as well. And then for Tuesday, we're going to see scattered showers for just about everybody, and this will continue for much of the day. We could see some heavy rain once again for areas east of Madison one final time Tuesday afternoon. And then by the time we get to Tuesday evening, although we could see some lingering rain, we'll see it clear out, and then we're going to be dry by Tuesday night into Wednesday morning. So total precipitation looks to be well over an inch, possibly over 2 inches for a few locations. And although it won't necessarily be pleasant outside as it happens, we definitely need the rainfall. Also, one final time, for those of you planning on attending the Packers game, it is going to rain for pretty much the entire game, unfortunately. Now, the one other thing I do want to mention is that we are going to be seeing some windy conditions. Today, we'll see wind gusts up to around 30 miles per hour. Not as windy as it was on Halloween, and today will also be the windiest of the next 3 days. Winds will calm down a little bit throughout the night, and then although they will be a little bit breezy for Monday, they are going to not be too bad. Now, here's a full look at the temperature forecast the next 10 days. 60s will be in the forecast for Monday and Tuesday. Temperatures will actually warm up throughout the night tonight as a warm front moves in, and will be fairly mild for Monday, Tuesday as well, and then middle 50s are in the forecast really for the rest of the 10-day forecast, as we'll see conditions much calmer starting Wednesday and continuing through the rest of the week into early next week, although we could see some light rain Saturday and Sunday. At this point in time, though, we're not expecting nearly as much rainfall as we will the next couple of days. So it will be very rainy, but again, we do need the rainfall, so this isn't necessarily that bad of news. Obviously, you know, those of you that were looking forward to the Packers game, it's still going to happen. It's not going to thunderstorm, but it is going to be raining quite a bit. Now, again, dry weather for Wednesday through the end of the work week, but then more rain will return for the weekend.
Wisconsin headed down to Iowa last night for a pivotal physical matchup with the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Badgers with a chance to become bowl eligible with the win heading into their bye week. But this one was all Hawkeyes nearly the whole way. Less than 5 minutes left in the third. It's 21-3 Iowa, and Brendan Sullivan was ballin'. Finds Jacob Gill for the score. Make it 28-3 Iowa. Yes, Iowa scoring all these points. The Badgers did find some offense of their own. A few minutes later, need points and need them fast. It's Vinny Anthony. He's a big play machine. He's got the big gainer, a 33-yard completion, and then later in the drive, 4th and 4, Badgers need it and go for it and convert. Touchdown, C.J. Williams. But that's about as exciting as it would get. The Hawkeyes win it 42-10. The bowl will stay in Iowa City for a new record, 3rd straight season. Headed over to the WIAC. Whitewater got a win, and one that they needed really, really badly. Number 21, River Falls, went into their place and fell 13-7. As for Platteville, the Pioneers just keep pushing all their chips to the center of the table. 42-14 is the final score in their victory. To the pitch, high school boys soccer. Middleton playing Madison West for a trip to state. Tied at 1 apiece in the second half, but not any longer. Look at that goal. Brennan Maurer, are you kidding me? Puts the free kick into the net. The Cardinals would take the lead and ultimately win it in penalty kicks. They're headed back to state to try and defend their state title. Staying with soccer, forward Madison won their playoff game last night in the quarterfinals of USL 1. That is their first franchise victory, their first victory in franchise history, I should say, in the postseason. They beat Charlotte FC in the quarterfinals 2-0. Up to Wisconsin Rapids for the state cross-country championships. This is amazing. Deerfield Cambridge's Emerson Droback won the D2 girls individual state title with a WIA girls record of 17 minutes and 38 seconds. On the boys' side, Whitewater's Jack Hefty took home the D2 state title. He just wins year-round in cross-country and track. Bucks looking to snap a 4-game skid against the undefeated Cavaliers. Down 1 with 14 seconds to go, which means it's Dame time. Lillard lifts a mid-range jumper. It's good. Bucks take a 1-point lead with less than 10 seconds to go, but the Cavs came back. Donovan Mitchell makes it happen, keeps his Cavs undefeated. The final score there, 114-113. The Bucks fall to 1-5 on the year. That's your morning sports fix. Have a sensational Sunday.
Hey, thank you, Andrew. And still ahead, Jacob's final forecast, plus it's National Sandwich Day. We got the history of sandwiches next.
During COVID, Joan Balwig took $500,000 in federal loans she never paid back. Then voted to block assistance to help other Wisconsin businesses grow. Joan Balwig, out for herself, not you.
National Democrats have been a disaster. Higher prices, open borders, making our communities less safe. They can't run on their record, so they try to distract you by lying about abortion.
Here's the truth. I oppose a national abortion ban. Early in a pregnancy, women should have the right to decide. We should allow for exceptions. And finally, the people of Wisconsin need to decide this issue, not politicians in Washington.
I'm Eric Hovde, and I approve this message.
Rebecca Cook believes our parents and grandparents should be able to age with dignity. In Congress, she'll vote to strengthen Social Security and Medicare by repealing the tax on benefits, lowering the eligibility age for Medicare, and allowing Medicare to negotiate lower drug costs so our seniors get the prescription drugs they need at prices they can afford. Rebecca Cook, a homegrown Wisconsinite who fights for what's right. Project 218 is responsible for the content of this ad.
Kamala backed Biden on everything.
She was the deciding vote for his disastrous economic agenda. They raised taxes on the middle class, and prices soared. Kamala was in charge of his open border policies, giving welfare to illegals while Americans struggle, and their weakness invited wars. Now Kamala wants to double down on failure. It's time to turn the page on Joe and Kamala's failed agenda. President Trump fights for you. His strength kept us safe. Trump cut taxes for families. Prices were lower and the border secure. Now, President Trump can do it again.
And we are going to launch a new golden age of American success for the citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed.
Remember, Kamala broke it. President Trump will fix it.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
We've had enough of this crap from Eric Hovde.
We're tired of his lies.
Hovde spent $100 million on his garbage attack ads.
Smearing Tammy Baldwin and trying to buy our Senate seat.
But we know Tammy Baldwin.
She's protected our jobs.
She's taken on the pharmaceutical companies.
And she's leading the fight to restore Roe v. Wade.
So Eric Hovde, take your lies back to California.
Wisconsin's not for sale.
I'm Tammy Baldwin, and I approve this message.
This is China, and this is Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg invested thousands of dollars in Chinese companies, but voted against using state funds to help grow companies here in Wisconsin. Joan Ballweg, out for herself, not you.
Well, finally this morning, a question. Do you prefer a simple PB&J or a triple-decker club? Well, either way, it is time to celebrate that lunchtime staple because today is National Sandwich Day. Well, the history of the sandwich isn't exactly clear, but it is believed that it was named after John Montague. He was the 4th Earl of Sandwich. And according to legend, he loved gambling so much that he didn't want to leave the card table, and as a result, he would ask his servants to just bring him slices of meat between bread. His friends then reportedly started to ask for the same as sandwich, and the sandwich was born. That's that.
Very, very.
You ever know that, Jacob?
I did not know that. What's your favorite kind of sandwich?
I don't know, just like probably the same thing he was having. That looks good
just
on the screen.
Bread and meat?
Yeah, just bread and meat. I don't know.
No cheese.
Maybe
or
some cheese.
Or
I don't know. I'm a simple guy. What can I say? I'm the 4th Earl of Sandwich.
Have you been to Casetta in downtown?
I have not.
In Madison? Oh, you got to go there. Now, it's only open like during the lunchtime during the week, but I've been there like 4 times. It's incredible. Great sandwiches. It's like, I mean, they got like the typical like Italian and a few other ones. Anyway, you got to go there.
We're getting
if you're
sandwich
there,
recommendations this morning.
Sorry, what'd you say?
Nothing. Let's get the forecast.
Yeah, we're going to see rain the next couple of days. Temperatures will also be mild, but then calmer conditions are the forecast Wednesday through Friday.
All right, Jacob, thank you. Thank you all for watching. Have a great Sunday, folks.